It's the first time I see a band that puking is part of the ritual, but whatever works, you know?
If I don't throw up before a show, there's something wrong. And I looked at him and I was like, any word of advice, dude? And he looks me dead in the eyes and he's like, I've never played in front of a crowd this big before.
Hey, this is my friend John. He plays drums. And I turned to this dude and I looked at him.
You're like, I don't fucking care. The one moment I'm setting up my drum kit and I look up and Vanilla Ice is walking by. And
he was so nice.
He's like, what's up, guys? Good to see you. And I'm like, hi, Mr. Van Winkle.
Yeah, literally.
There'll be a couple times I'll look up and I'll be playing. And then I'm like, wow, that's a sick shirt. Oh, I know who that person is. And then I'm like, oh shit, like I don't remember where I'm at in the song. And I'm like, all right, gotta get back into it.
Real quick before we start, I just wanted to mention that we do these podcast recordings live on stream. We stream every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. EST on Twitch. It's an opportunity for you guys to come hang out, interact, and ask your questions directly to all of our guests. We also have a Discord if you want to keep talking more about deathcore and metalcore, or simply to keep up with everything that we're doing, upcoming guests, and all that jazz. I'll leave links to both of these things in the description wherever you are watching or listening. And with that out of the way, please enjoy this episode. Welcome to another episode of the Brutality podcast. My name is Dom. I am joined, as always, by my co-host Yan. How you doing?
I'm doing super good now that you came to rescue the chat from me rambling, where I'm doing super well as usual, right?
There we go.
And then the boys are here, so.
The boys are here. We have 9 Dead with us today. How we doing, boys? Welcome to the show.
What's awesome. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Do you guys mind, just for the sake of audio listeners, maybe just introducing yourselves one by one, just so they know who's who with the voice?
I'm Keply, the drummer.
And I'm Stauffer, or Jonathan, the guitar player.
Yeah, just so we're clear, it's Jonathan and Jonathan, right?
Jonathan and John, or Keply.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Keply and I'm Stauffer.
Yeah.
That's it. Easier that way. Yeah. Let's get into it. You guys recently came back from California to play a festival, right? How was that? You guys were telling me it was an earthquake when you guys landed.
Yeah, we came in, flew in from Philly to LAX, and when we landed and got to the Airbnb, out of nowhere our phone started going off, and like apparently there was a 4-point-something earthquake like 20 miles down the road, and we were like, dude, what? Like, is everything going to be all right? Like, we're pretty close to the beach. Like, we were like, is there going to be like a problem? But yeah,
it was just the world trying to, advise people that you guys are coming in town to shake things up. It was like a universe. Yeah, there you go. Universe signs for people. No, but those things are super scary though. Like honestly, like you never know, right? Like it could be just, it can be,
But yeah, we came. All the way from Philly, did Cali it was Knights of the Abyss and Reminiscence and Cephalotripsy. And
did you guys catch Mark of the Altar? They were on that, right?
Yeah, super sick. Everyone there was so nice too. Every single band that played, everyone came up to us and was like, dude, you guys, like, thank you for coming here. Like, what? Thank you for bringing us into your house.
That's super cool, man. How'd the show go? Was there a big attendance? Was it like a bigger festival type thing?
It wasn't like a festival. It was like an all day thing.
Yeah.
Because the lineup was like pretty extensive, right? It was like a pretty big lineup.
Yeah. It was pretty badass. I mean, I've never been to California before, so it was pretty freaking cool. Everybody in the band has been there before except for me. So
you got his In-N-Out burger.
Yeah, I'll
there we go. First time for everything. Better sooner than later.
I'm super stoked that you guys are here, especially because I knew, you were in studio and stuff like that. So like crazy excited to hear how it's gonna come out. Like I heard a little like sneak peek you said, like and I was already like, okay, that's gonna go
the tiniest little
pretty
bit.
hard. I didn't give anything away. I just told people it was going hard. So like super excited for that. And before the podcast, we were listening to, some of the songs you've put out, and your vocalist is crazy, honestly. Dude, I've paid attention. His high-pitched vocals, especially, are just insane. Like, and it's very old school deathcore. And I kind of noticed more today that the vocal styles is doing is very rare in slam, in that particular kind of, like, it's mostly low usually. So I think you guys sounds extremely unique. So very excited for that, man. Really.
Yeah. We try to put everything that we love like into what would it be, like the genre of deathcore, but like we bring the slammy elements because I love Devourment, I love Analepsy, and old Suffo and Cephalotripsy and all the super heavy stuff. And he came from like a super
it's side. Like I listen to like the slammy stuff too, but he's definitely more of the slammy kid. I grew up like more with like just pretty much any type of metal. Our bass player, cuz he's more all over the place. I think he's more along the lines of like the trippy, like Tool and all that stuff.
He likes to use bass lines and like the Scientist or whatever it's called. I think it's the one band, but he's like in love with like the super bass licks and stuff. So like even having him on board with that, he brings another element into it, especially with the new stuff that's not out yet, that's coming out soon, very soon. Basically, it's everything. We just try to bring in everything as possible, and that includes the highs over top, the super slammy stuff sometimes, and it sounds super sick. We love it.
Yeah, I think with our old band, and we tried to do that, like stick in the one genre of music, and it didn't really work out too well.
No, and just trying to push like the envelope, like not even like with Nine Dead, we try to structure stuff a lot different than even the people that we look up to and we listen to. We try to structure some sort of song pattern to it, bring something back, bring it back to it, pound it back into the ground, and it literally comes out of nowhere, but having structure there and then going back, like the influences, everything from like the super old Suicide EP to
huge
the JFAC and you name them. We all grew up listening to this stuff and like being like senior year. It was like senior year. I had the MP3 player or whatever where you would drag and drop MP3s over because that's what I got for Christmas that year, and listening to like the EP, the Suicide EP, or even before that with the Family Guy samples on it. Like it was like this
the samples
this
and all
rules.
that, right? You guys have always kind of had that throughout the different bands you guys have been doing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's one like when I was doing my wall, like I was like, there's no way there's not the Suicide Silence like EP on it. And I also considered the Chelsea. I don't know if you guys have been big for that one, but like the Chelsea Gun EP too, it was like ripping pretty hard, like with songs like Recreant and stuff like that, like Lifeless and all of that. This era of deathcore when bands were just trying, right? Like new sounds and new things and samples. To me, that's like the best memories ever. Like everybody was like excited to see what's the next thing, right? Like what's, Whitechapel with those lows, Mitch was going crazy, all those people. It was awesome.
And annotations ruled.
Yeah. It's actually funny that the albums you have on your wall, three of those bands actually have those tattoos of them. The first one I ever got was the demo of Suicide on my elbow. And the Born of Osiris I have up there, the castle.
Yeah.
Fucking that's Chelsea Grin, the key.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
It's huge influences.
That's so cool. Yeah, we were talking about that before the podcast. We really like the fact that you have a lot of like raw deathcore elements. You know, like I love slam. Honestly, I really love it, but it's not as deathcore as you guys are usually, right? So it's super cool to hear all those crazy parts with like blasting, and you have some technical stuff too, which is interesting, like fast-paced technical stuff. That's something that I don't see often too. So all that we're just all very super excited to hear what you guys are going to come up with next, I guess. So. Of course.
We literally just like, going to the origins of it. Like, should we just start from the beginning, I guess? Like,
yeah, I mean,
I'd love to hear. I mean, you because you guys have been at it for like a long time. We're talking like 2006. You guys were playing music together, right? Like, was it Molesting the Dead? And then I've got Orpheus here and Vomiting Homophagia and the Courage Tree and all this stuff. You guys have been through it as like different bands and stuff. There's a lot more like brutal deathcore influence in the early bands, which I thought was cool to dig back into. But yeah, I'd love to kind of hear your guys' take on maybe the band's history and you two specifically.
And please also share like how it started, like the friendship with Waking. I think it's pretty clear how much of a fan I am of Dunn. So I'm very curious about that part as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Forever almost. So from the beginning, from a Job for a Cowboy show, or from,
or like you can start at your beginning music years, and then I can start with mine. What'll lead into, I guess, how we first talked.
Yeah. Basically, just grew up in the middle of nowhere in South Jersey. There's nothing to do. Especially where I lived. There was cows. Like when I was little, I used to like walk down the street, which was like 2 houses, but it was like all road, and I would play with cows, you know, and. And then
I mean, that's something to do, but you know.
Yeah. So there's nothing to do. So music, I got shown music super early. My uncle's like only 10 years older than me, and right now I'm 35. But he was a teenager then, and he was like, listening to this music, and I was like, this is different. This is cool. He was listening to like Faith No More and like super early Cold Chamber and like Metallica, And Justice for All, Black Album, Megadeth, Slayer, all that, but like
proper
I really
metalhead.
Yeah, total metal, like denim jacket, Ride the Lightning shirts, everything. It's cut off sleeves and everything. Like his high school photo is like him wearing the Master of Puppet shirt. So but he played guitar and would let me hang out and play Super Nintendo and be playing this music. But I really took fancy of like Faith No More and Cold Chamber and stuff. And then he turned me on the Korn, changed everything. I like Life is Peachy, like 96, 97. And like, I'm watching ECW, I'm watching like wrestling. I'm a little bit older, not mentally, well, I guess mentally than I am as age, because of like my uncle and like my neighbor was a little bit older than me. So like we all just like played to, and just hung out together, rollerbladed, BMX'd and everything, rode dirt bikes and stuff. But the music side, and I just got a guitar for Christmas one year, and I wanted to be, I wanted to be monkey, I wanted to be head.
Yeah.
And couldn't, because it was a 6-string or whatever. So basically was watching like just videos, like VHSs and stuff, like Metallica live in Seattle, live shit Bingport or whatever it's called. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, blah, 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 blah. So then I started getting into like the Napster days, downloading like Megadeth albums and stuff. And like learning, being in like
Metallica's dismay.
Oh, absolutely. I was that kid, don't come after me, but like, a million bajillion other people did too. So I just sat there and back then, like there was no YouTube. It was, you had to go to the local guitar shop and if you wanted to learn a song, you got the book, and you might as well learn the fucking book. So I would learn like Master of Puppets, and then I learned fucking Orion, and then I learned Battery, and then that's all downstroke. So, all through high school, got turned on. I still loved Korn, but it wasn't cool to listen to them anymore. But like they were still like, Slayer, woo. But in reality, I'm like, yeah, dude, Helmet in a Bush. Like, this is one of my favorite Korn songs. But definitely was that guitar nerd kid that just played guitar every goddamn day. Kind of stayed out of trouble, kind of. But got in the trouble because Jackass and CKY and all that stuff. And, jumping in the bushes and all that shit. Back hurts now. But, just play guitar, and then got turned on to super heavy stuff in middle school, like Dying Fetus and Suffocation and stuff. And then that turned, once high school hit, it was Suicide Silence, Job for a Cowboy, See You Next Tuesday, Devourment, you name it, like all this, like 138. I was like, what's Baby Killer? And it was like, bam, 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 bam. I was like, what is this? This is heavy. Then really got in like the deathcore side, and I was like, these riffs are sick, whatever. Went to a Job for a Cowboy show in like 2006, and that's where I'll stop. Here's Keply now. He can talk.
So, I was pretty much raised. My mom, she was a huge hair metal fan, so she listened to like Warren, Whitesnake, all that stuff, and my dad.
Is metal like a thing where you guys are from? Because both of you guys had like metal parents, which is kind of not super common,
I think
at least here it doesn't exist here in Canada. I just want to say that. It would have been cool, but it doesn't exist here.
I think growing up around here, maybe in like the late 80s, you know what I mean? It was just metal,
Sure. That's just what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad was more the Megadeth, Metallica, Ozzy, like all that stuff. And then my stepdad, he was pretty much the same thing. My dad pretty much listened to everything. Like he would pick me up on weekends and, he'd be blasting Eminem or, the old Fungus Among Us, Incubus album, Beastie Boys, stuff like that. So he pretty much listened to everything. And so did my stepdad, but it was mostly metal and stuff like that they would listen to. So I started probably in like 7th grade. I think 7th grade, I got a bass. There's not really too much to do in the town I grew up in. It seemed like it was just either skateboarding, BMX, music, or just doing drugs. You know what I mean? That's just what they did.
Cocktail of a few of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? I started playing bass and learned a couple songs here and there. And I think it was when Disaster Pieces came out by Slipknot. My buddy let me borrow the DVD and watch the whole thing. And I got to the Joey Jordison drum solo. Instantly called up my mom and was like, "You got to buy me a drum set for Christmas. I'm not playing bass anymore. You got to get me a drum set."
Every mom's nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she didn't have a problem with it. I mean, she got me one. I mean, she regretted it later, but but yeah, I got my first drum kit, and of course, it came for Christmas, and half of it was black, half of it was red, so they had to ship half of it back. So
you wouldn't play it.
Yeah, I played it, but I played half of it was a drum set, and the half I didn't have a kick drum, so I used like a cardboard box and just played.
We should have played it.
But so I dabbled with that for a while. Tried to take some music classes in high school, which was utterly boring. That didn't last very long at all. I was in, a couple bands in high school. That was pretty fun. Played a couple shows. Even just like before when I first started, even till this day, like before every show, like he can tell you. Like, I'll walk outside, I'll stretch, I'll listen to the set list, and I'll vomit. Every show.
Every single show we've ever played.
Yeah, I don't, it's just the nerves, you know?
Every show.
But, yeah, so a couple bands in high school, stuff like that. And then, I went to school for diesel mechanic for a little bit, which couldn't find shit, which leads up to how we met. You want to tell it, or?
We can both. Yeah. So we went to, there's a venue over here in Philly. It's pretty famous or infamous. It's the Church. And it was See You Next Tuesday and Job for Cowboy. And yeah, I got a group of my friends to go, and he got a group of his friends to go, but we didn't know each other yet. But we kind of knew each other in this little group of friends or whatever. So the one friend brought him over to me that I was cool with, and she's like, hey, this is my friend John, and he plays drums. And I turned to this dude and I looked at him. What did I say?
You're like, I don't fucking care.
That was the worst thing you could ever say to anyone ever.
He grew up just constantly getting made fun of, was the dorky kid, you know. And then once he hit high school, he got pulled on stage twice to play guitar for CKY. So after that moment, he was John the rock star.
He was a fucking asshole.
So
that's what it was.
So you couldn't, whatever.
So yeah, so I literally was I turned back around and I was like, whatever, you know. So then fucking literally 6 months later, I'm playing in a band. It's MTD. So we don't have a bassist. So this dude named Chris, he comes over to practice, were you there the first time?
No, I was only there for the first show.
Okay, so he ends up bringing Keply. It's them two, high school's best buds. So he was like, yo, you got to come see my band. We're super heavy. So, it's at this Elks Lodge in the middle of nowhere. It's everything where we live. Where we live in New Jersey. It's in the southern part. So people who don't everyone knows that we're from Jersey. It's it's literally Philadelphia is right across, right over there. Oh, sure. And then Delaware is right there. So it's we're in the middle of cornfields. There's nothing down here. So when we say there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do. So in this Elks Lodge in the middle of nowhere, he brings him, and I'm like, oh, I know this guy, whatever. Instant click, this dude's awesome. Good, I'm sorry about that one time. Oh, dude, don't worry about it, you know?
Yeah, and it was kind of funny because they were practicing the one day. I think I only missed one show they ever played. And I think their drummer went in to go to the bathroom. And I was like, yo, you mind if I just hop on real quick? I know this one song, Hacksaw. I was like, I kind of
words.
Yeah, I kind of tweaked it a little bit.
Murders
and
it,
just
dude.
Got on there and they were just like, what was that? And
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I sat back and I was like, dude, no, now, dude. So shout out to Worm. Still super tight with almost everybody from that era. You'd stay in touch, it was more than music. We were all friends. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just, that dude could do double bass. So he's the drummer, You know what I mean? But Keply knew how to drum a monster, and he did one song, and what he said, he just hopped on, and then all of us were oh no, that's it, he's in, it's him.
We don't want our drummer anymore.
Yeah, seriously. So that was 2007, 8ish, and then literally side by side this entire time. It's 2024 now.
It's been a while.
Pretty much. The last band went until what, 2000 or
2013?
Yeah, probably about that. Because we pretty much took an 8 or 9 year hiatus. I didn't touch my drum set. I was
gonna ask, from the last band till now, coming back, it's been a long ass time. What was I guess the reasoning, I guess maybe for the breakup and then coming back and all that? How'd that all go down?
Pretty much we turned age to drink. We got cars.
Yeah, we got
and
cars, we
girls.
could drink and girlfriends, and
So
just kind of just stopped. Like the scene kind of died out here. There was nothing really pushing us anymore other than like, you know, just making music and having fun. But it wasn't, we just got caught up at life. And then like, I can't practice this weekend. We'll do it next weekend. And then that like turned into a month. And then, you know, but it was funny because we never lost. We would still call each other every other day, or like, especially like every other week. You know, we never lost contact or anything in the sense of friendship or anything. We just stopped playing music. Like his drum set was at my grandmom's house the entire time.
Okay.
Like
so you guys weren't playing music at all, like not even individually.
No, I would sit there and maybe strum on an acoustic, or like, all right, I feel like playing like Tornado Souls or something. So I'd sit there and like, because now you can go into YouTube and get like individual tracks and play the rhythm or play this part and like, yeah, I'm James Hetfield, you know.
Let's relive that CKY a little bit. No, but I meant like in those moments, you're like, let's play. Let's just kind of play along. Like, let's just do these things.
yeah, exactly.
And then pretty much COVID happened, and we were just so bored. And I was like, dude, like I got to play again. Like, let's just mess around. Like if anything happens, like we'll just throw something online, and then that's it. We'll just be an internet band.
Yeah, we were supposed to be a balaclava, or not a balaclava. What's it called? But baklava. What's it called?
Now you got me confused because you keep saying the wrong word.
I don't know what it is. It's the ski mask.
Balaclava, I think, is the ski mask, and baklava, I think, is the food. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So whatever you wear over your head and rob a bank, that thing. It was just supposed to be me and him doing it. The first song was Abysmal Stupor, which was like a super old riff. The beginning of it was like end of the Gertrude Tree era. And we were thinking of like
something you guys had from like way back, like something you guys had just noodled along. Like,
yeah. I was like, it feels good now. You know, back then it was like, I don't know what this is in 2012, but in 2020, it sounded better. And maybe I was playing it slower or whatever.
Yeah, you probably were playing it slower because everything back in the Gertrude Tree days was way too fast.
Yeah, I can't even listen to it anymore.
Yeah. So the whole time we took that break, I was so proud of that band. And I was like, that, like, you know, people knew me as a good drummer and they were like, you know, always used to talk about that band. And then like, even like a couple months ago, we re-listened to the album. We were like,
turn this off. So like this, what is that riff? We're like, what's that riff? Bad. Like, that's gross.
But so the whole COVID thing happened. I don't even know if you'd consider it a show, but he always used to throw shows in his Ulma's garage. Shout out to Ulma.
Shout out Ulma.
That's the best.
We would throw shows there a lot, and it was just like a couple local bands. So we did like a little tiny kind of show there.
Yeah, it was like 3 bands, and one of us was the bands. So
so I don't even think it would really count. But no. I mean, after that, somehow miraculously, like, you know, talking to people and getting things together, our first show was technically we played the Gathering of the Juggalos. Main stage, which was insane.
It was insane.
It's like, okay, you're back to playing music, play in front of these couple thousand of people.
Yeah,
how'd that even come about? Like, how were you guys approached about this to not have songs and be approached to do this show?
We literally didn't even have an album. It was just
4 songs. I think 3 songs, and the 4th one we finished like a week before.
Yeah, so we had no lyrics for the latest song, which was Desecrate that we played, but it was like 4 songs and an intro. Only 3 songs were released at the time. Only 1 had a music video. To backtrack, the wrestling thing that I'm a part of, I'm basically the merch. I'm the apparel maker for the company Game Changer Wrestling, GCW. Huge independent company.
Game Changer like a venue too in
Yeah.
in Jersey?
So yeah. So it stems from like the old owners that don't own it anymore or whatever. Then
Okay.
then like Game Changer World or whatever went out of business.
Yeah.
But like we just had Game Changer Wrestling because we used to run out of that venue and do I don't know if you may have seen it, but like one of the guys, Joey Janela and Zandig, went off the roof of off the back, through a back of a pickup truck through light tubes, fire, and barbed wire. So
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Right.
So we like that was 2015 era. So anyway, one of the dudes, OGKG, he is super affiliated with that entire scene. You know what I mean? He's super. He used to work with Rockstar. He helped develop Backyard Wrestling, the game, and then on top of that, super tight with Violent J and Shaggy, and
I can see the wrestling and juggalos crowd kind of coexisting.
Yeah, exactly. And then that entire crowd themselves, they listen to heavy stuff. You know what I mean? And not for nothing. Like 99, 2000, 2001. Like there's not one of us who didn't not hear about ICP. You know what I mean? So it was and then the show itself is legendary in itself. It puts people on the map, kind of, or like gets people out, brings them. And what's super sick about that entire thing is just how welcoming everyone was to us to bring this sound not only to the show, the venue, the crowd, but to be like Chanted Back Family was sick. But one of the guys within Game Changer was able to push our music along and be like, hey,
show it to the right people.
Yeah, exactly. And then they were like, yo, these dudes are super dope. Like the email was awesome. It was like, it was awesome. It was like, I could hear it as I was reading it. I was like, this is super dope, super down. And I was like, this rules. So like, yes, let's do this.
And we thought we were just going to get like a side stage, something there would be a couple people.
You guys were opening main stage, right?
Yeah. The first one post COVID. So it was like that much bigger because like it was the first like super big show post COVID. Like people were still wearing masks even at there, Okay.
Right. I'll stress for you though. Like for that show, it's coming from someone. I'm super anxious. I'm trying to picture myself having to do that. And it must have been nerve-wracking for you guys to do that.
There's like the main stage is huge. And behind it is like this like 2-story kind of like a
pavilion,
like a pavilion, like big shed garage thing
where they have catering.
Yeah. And we were
like, eat catering. It was sick.
We were on the second floor, like looking out, like probably 10 minutes before we had to play. And, Steve-O announces, Steve-O goes out there.
Oh yeah. That was you with Steve-O. I forgot about that.
And like, you were just looking out and then like you get behind the stage and like you look and you see that like the sea of people and you're like,
and there were a lot of people. It was opening, but it was packed. There was a lot of people there.
Yeah. You can't back out now.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do now. Like the stage is already set up. We already did the sound. Like we're up there with our water bottles. Like, all right, what do we do? All right, set list. What do we do? We're like shaking crazy.
That was brutal. Yeah. Vomiting. That was,
of course.
It was scary as hell, but
vomiting. So let us real quick. So this is insanity. So it was like supposed to rain. And like we're all kind of bummed. We're like, fuck, man. Like, what if the what ifs? Like, what if it gets canceled? Like, what if we drove all this way and we can't do this? So we're like, all right, whatever. But like, it clears up. It's seriously like blue skies, and we're driving. I'm driving, and I'm doing my thing, and I'm like pulling up to the venue, and it's not it's not a venue. It's like so we pulled up to a gas station, got like tall can alcohol, beer, whatever, and then like waters and Red Bulls and whatever we needed. Then we start seeing people like with backpacks, and it's like, okay, cool. And then you get out, we took a little promo photo, looked all cool. Then you start seeing more people and you're like, what is going on? So you get back in the car and you're on your Google map or your Waze or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 30 feet up ahead, 300 feet or whatever. So as we're pulling up,
it's like a hill.
It's like a hill. So you cross over this, dude, you cross over this hill and it's fucking Woodstock 1999. He just goes, what? And just fucking pukes fucking everywhere, dude. Pukes everywhere. All because like we had no idea. We knew it was going to be a lot of people, but coming back, our first show ever, coming back and going into that, we were like, we fucked up.
And then we had Dan, an old drummer from Visceral Disgorge.
Yeah, shout out Dan.
He comes with us all the time to stuff. And I remember we're on stage and my trigger system isn't working, and me and Dan figure it out. And I remember like we go back, we got like a couple minutes before we go on. And I go up to Dan. I'm like, Dan, is there any word of advice you can give me right now? Because I'm freaking out.
Because Dan, he's from Visceral Disgorge and he recorded Ingesting Pre-Trinity. And that album is unbelievable. So like we look up to him and he's like a homie. Like he's a homie like to us.
Yeah. And I like looked at him and I was like, any word of advice, dude? And he like looks me dead in the eyes and he's like, I've never played in front of a crowd this big before.
And we just it made it so much worse.
At that moment, like I knew I was like, I'm alone. Like
that's the worst thing you don't want to hear. Like that's exactly what you don't want to hear at that moment.
No help.
You wanted to hear
help. He knows you, right? Like he could have said something else.
I mean, he could have said something like, "Oh, it's gonna go well once you're up there."
He could have said anything. He could have been like, "Dude, don't worry about it. You got it." No.
It was the equivalent of saying like, "Oh no, I would be terrified, and it would be the worst moment of my life." So,
good luck, dude.
Yeah, good luck. But I'm curious to know though, when you guys started, it must have felt like great once you got going and with the crowd and all that. Like, I'm just curious to know, like, did you just black out and it went super fast? Like, what happened in your mind? Like, I'm curious about that.
I mean, he would have a better picture of like how it was, but like even shows like now, like I'll barely like look up into the crowd. I'll just stare down because like I must have ADHD or something. Because like there'll be a couple times I'll look up and I'll be playing, and then I'm like, wow, that's a sick shirt. Oh, I know who that person is. And then I'm like, oh shit, like I don't remember where I'm at in the song. And I'm like, all right, gotta get back into it. Like I just gotta like keep my head down, stay focused. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, he was up there like standing on the boxes, you know what I mean? Doing the 1-string guitar riffs. And
we in between the set, it was like one song in, you know, we're throwing t-shirts out. Like we're really trying to win them over. Cause like we know you know, it's not an everyday crowd, you know, they didn't go there to see slamming brutal deathcore, you know, they didn't go, you know, or they did, you know. But a lot of them, it was especially back, you know, in 2021, it was the first time way before 115, you know, way before anything now, you know, and they were chanting at us like, I was like, what are they saying? Like, fuck you. Like, no, I'm finally, they got, you know, it's like a wrestling chant. It's like, you fucked up type of thing, but they're going family, the whole crowd. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like, what the fuck? Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. So like super, you know, it amps you up that much more. But that was a really cool, that was an unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
Was there also, like, I'm just curious because very often in the band, like there's also like one person who's just like, it doesn't show, right? Like he seems confident, maybe inside if he's terrified, but like, were you all terrified, or like, is there any members who were just like, let's do it. It's going to go well. Like, or was all the band just like tripping? Oh my God. Like I
think we were all freaking out.
All of us. I think we were all it was the out. Hill. It was the second we crossed over that fucking hill. The second we crossed over the hill, it was just like, what the fuck did we do? Okay. Like, we thought it was going to be a lot of people, but like we didn't expect that.
Mm-mm.
It's opening up the stage and stuff like that. You probably figure, it's earlier in the day. Nobody knows who the fuck we are. They'll be chilling somewhere else or seeing some other band or doing anything else.
Yeah. And think of anything else that is what's happening there.
There's a ton going on. Yeah, for sure.
Oh
it was,
my god,
it was really cool too to be like doing like the sound check, and then like the one moment I'm setting up my drum kit and I look up and Vanilla Ice is walking by, and
he's like so nice.
He's like, "What's up, guys? Good to see you." And I'm like, "Hi, Mr. Van Winkle."
Literally, like, hey man, handshake.
That's so cool.
That's so cool. Yeah.
And you guys were reinvited 2 years later, right? You guys did it 2023 as well, right?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
How was that like second time coming around?
That was awesome.
That was cool. Yeah, we had a lot of people that were back there, and they're like, "We're so glad to have you guys back. It's really good to see you again." And signed a bunch of autographs. We were literally right next. Our booth was right next to
Cool in the Gang.
Cool in the Gang.
Yeah,
and those guys were cool as shit.
They were
like,
so nice. Oh yeah, they came over to like, "You got a Sharpie?" And we were like, "Hell yeah, we do. Here you go, dude." Like,
it was a lot more chill, but like we had a new singer, we had a new bass player, so like those guys didn't get to experience it.
Oh yeah, it was brand new. It was brand new for those guys.
And like our dressing room or the green room or whatever you want to call it was right next to another band that was opening up, and they came over and they're like, "Hey, how's the crowd? Like, this is our first time doing this," and we were like, "Listen, like,
good luck.
Do this. If this happens, don't worry about it. Like, you're gonna be good."
It was crazy.
Imagine if you would have said the same thing. You're like, we don't know. It could be horrible. So.
No, we told them, like, listen, it's going to sound like they're booing, but they're not. They're going whoop whoop. You know what I mean? It's just literally like what they. It's the.
What we should have did is we should have told them we've never played in front of a crowd this big before. That's what we should have told them.
100%.
That's the best thing to say. Like, if you want someone to feel good, just, I don't know, it's gonna be terrifying. No, but like these kinds of things, it's like I know I am, like, I would black out completely. Like, I know a lot of people in bands, they're telling me they go on stage, they do their thing, and then they're trying to remember their show, and they're like, it's just like a few flashes here and there, but it's like it's going fast, and it's just like all adrenaline and stuff. So it's a crazy thing that our brain is just basically taking over, and just muscle memory and just playing your stuff, and then it's over. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. You like me, I'll panic the whole day. And then like
all day long.
Once I'm done listening to set list, and they're like, "All right, band's off, user up." It's like you run up to the stage, you set up your stuff, and then most of the time for me, like after I'm done setting up my stuff, it's like, "All right, you guys are on, like, go." And then pretty much you're in go mode. You forget about all the other shit. And then like you get to like the last like 30, 45 seconds of your last song. And then you're like, "Oh, I got this in the back." And then you finish it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what the fuck? I wish we had a couple more songs, because like I can't believe it's over already.
We always say at the last part of 115, the second the headbanging part comes on, it's like, we're going home. Yeah. We're going home. It's almost over. We're done. Thanks, everyone. Like, we don't want it to be over, but it's like just the anxiety. Like, it's still terrifying. Like, it really is.
You guys have a similar kind of bit at the end of the Desecrate as well, right? I know you guys have played that one a few times to end sets. There's a real headbanger, like kind of stretched out kind of vibe as well. I can imagine that being a similar vibe.
Okay, so guys, I need to know. Waking the Cadaver. I need to know how it started, or what, because I know you're close friends, right? Like, we've talked about that. Like, he's a buddy of yours. So I'm just super curious, and amazing on your song too, by the way. Like, his feature, like we listened to.
Badass. Yeah,
like,
really fucking cool.
I'm forever, for all my life, gonna be jealous of this dude's vocals. Like, I don't understand how he's just doing all of that.
He's not real. He's an alien.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
It's band, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up in high school. Like, I remember being like junior, senior year and hearing about them and being like, what the fuck is this band? Like, I've never heard this type of music before. And
that was like the demo days, like 06,
yeah, like
07.
It's crazy. And you know, we actually were writing, in the process of writing 2 songs. And the song he was originally going to be in, we finished it, and we were like, this song is not good enough for Don. Like, it's just not.
Yeah, it didn't feel right, even though it was literally written to have a vocal part at the end of it.
Like, with him in mind. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, same thing like with the ICP show. We just shot our shot. And he came over, and he was the nicest, genuine dude ever.
Yeah, it was funny because we used to play. We played with them back in like in the Gertrude Tree. We played with them and like Defeated Sanity in Philly, and we would see like if Hate Diplomacy, Don's other band, would play Philly, whatever. You know, we would go see that and be like, "What's up, Don? What's up, dude?" You know, and MySpace friends, Facebook friends, like you kind of know who they are, but like. Not your best friend, you know.
It's kind of removed. It's just like, you know who you are. Hey,
yeah,
what's up?
like,
What's going
dude,
on? But
thanks for coming out for supporting. Like, I know your face, right? So, literally, it just fucking shot him a DM. Like, yo, what's up, dude? Hope all is well. You know, COVID was fucking crazy and whatever. The new stuff, they just released the new stuff. Yeah. We were like, dude, the new stuff is unbelievable.
Criminally underrated.
Yeah, very underrated. Yeah.
It's unreal. Yeah. It's unreal. It's literally unreal. So, especially with Marco on it, it's unbelievable. So
10 out of 10.
Also, like, too, shout out to Marco. Marco is the nicest guy ever.
He's a gem. So, but shot to shot, he was like, do you have a demo of it? And we were like, yeah, here's an iPhone recording of it. Kind of like what I showed you via the demo of like a little bit, like literally a little snippet. Like Don got the whole song in that quality. And he was like, I can't really distinguish anything. That's just, so I was like, fuck, what do I do now? Then he was down to do it anyway. We sent him like Tortured and all the other stuff and got a recommendation from, I don't know who, but somebody was like, yeah, they're cool. Like, fuck with them. And then on the way to the studio, the first time Don heard, because we finally had like the pre-production where it was just me and him, no bass, only 2 guitars, no mix, no nothing. It's just what we recorded that day at the studio. And here's your little WAV file to shut you guys up for a week. So on the way to the studio, finally, Don hears it, and he was like in the car, like this one, and I was like, yeah, dude. Like we were both like, yeah, this one's sick. We like this one because it's a little bit better than what the other one was going to be. So, got to the studio. Did you want to tell about Don warming up?
Oh, that was it. He just like sat in this car that was like, it was pretty hot outside and just had the windows up.
It was July.
And we're like, what are you doing? And he's like, just warming up. And we're like,
he had to warm up.
You're gonna have a heat stroke.
Yeah. So he warms up by sitting in the car with a hoodie on and just fucking roasting.
The heat helps, man. It's the warmth of the body and the throat and all that, man.
Came in and was like, all right, I'm ready. Did it and just literally, like, I still have like the recording on my phone, like video wise, like, killed it in like one take. And then we did another take to like layer it or whatever. And then it was over.
Holy shit.
Also, shout out to our producer too, Chris Kelly.
Shout out to Chris Kelly.
If it wasn't for Chris, half of these songs wouldn't sound as good.
No, it would sound like garbage.
We'll give him stuff, and he's like, you know what? Like, we're so used to like when you go to the studio with like any band or whatever, they're just like hit record, have at it. Okay, sounds good, done. Here's your thing.
He yells at us.
Yeah, he's like, no. He's like, this doesn't flow. This isn't right. Why don't you tweak this here, tweak that there? And it winds up being so much better.
Not just like performing, like actual songwriting.
Yeah, we're like we're sitting there like doing something like bum, 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 and he's like, I don't like the way that sounds. And we're like, what are you talking about? Like, this is the song. And he was like, no.
Riff.
Yeah, right. And then he's like, no, do it like do it like a third gap and do it again at the end. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, give me it. And he'll grab the guitar and he's like, what is it? And I'm like, 3, 2, 1. And that's everything is like 3, 2, 1. So he goes, he'll play it like, jun, 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 jun. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? And he was like, all right, do it that way. Go you back on the drums. And we're like, oh, we're going to do it again. But we do it. We get the take.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't do like a fill correctly, and Chris isn't a drummer, but
yeah.
I respect him. We respect him so goddamn much.
Yeah, even with like certain like fills, like I'll give him a rough draft and come up with like something for the drums, and he's like, "Let's try a fill this way,"
and then he'll do it.
I'll hear it, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, way better, way better."
It's hard to explain, but these people, they have it, like they know, like they have a vision.
The producer role, like the vision, you know?
Yeah.
You should have seen, like, I'm doing a song right now. I've sent, like, it was so crappy what I've sent. Compare, like, poor guy, what he had to do. I'm understanding now the importance of, like, the difference a producer is making in a song. Like, it's night and day. Like, it's not even close. And they deserve a lot of credit for most of what we like. I didn't realize that back in the days. I thought it was, just recording, adding stuff here and there. But when they have like a big input, it changes your whole vibe as a band almost. Like it's crazy. Mm-hmm. No, it's super cool, and it's nice that you have like this relationship with Don. Like when I did my channel and he commented, like I think Don, I must have talked about it for like weeks, probably months. Like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I can confirm.
Like I did the Waking the Cadaver video because to me it was very important. I was like, why is no one talking about how legendary this band was? So I'm like, I'm gonna do a video about it. Then I swear to God, it's been just a few hours. It's up. One of the first comments, it's done. I'm like, what? Like, did he? And then he started commenting on my stuff. I'm like, I just can't believe it. Like I was like starstruck or whatever you want to call it. So when we talk together and you're like, well, we're friends with him. Usually I'm cool with people, but like first, like somehow, and he's super nice, but I'm always like, I'm nervous. I don't know what's going on. Like he's a legend. Like it's just Yeah, it's weird.
We had a barbecue like last year over at my house, wow. And like all my buddies were over, and I invited Don. Don came over, like had a hot dog, hamburger, whatever, and like we're just like shooting the shit, whatever. And then he goes and leaves, and then like a couple of my buddies were like, "Dude, that was like." Don from Waking the Cadaver? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, he's over your house? And I was like, yeah, dude, he's pretty cool. And they're like, yeah, how is he over your house? I'm like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, Waking practices in my basement. And I forget, I was talking to somebody. And then even my wife was talking to somebody. I think it was, my wife was talking to somebody at one of our shows and like, was like, wait a minute, that's your basement? And my wife was like, yeah, it's fucking loud. Like it's, yeah. And they're like, but Waking the Cadaver practices in your basement. And it's, it's so much convenient because everyone lives relatively close to us, minus Marco. Marco flies in, rooms, with Don for the weekend or whatever they're doing via show by getting ready for whatever they have coming up. And they
just jam when they've got something coming up, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Because you can do anything in the digital age now where you write. Marco is set up at his house with everything. You can watch all his videos. You know what I mean? He's just, everything is set. So, but he uses his set primarily when they have anything. He's just familiar with Keply's set because he's just been on it for so long. Like since the first, we flew to Houston with them. It was us, Crown, Waking.
There was a ton of bands on that bill.
Yeah,
that was a big the Mammoth Fest. But you guys had another fest in that same weekend, right? Or was it just that one?
Did we have?
The My Children, My Bride thing, was that same weekend?
Yeah. No, that was a month prior to that because that was in Ohio. Okay. Yeah, we played with My Children, My Bride in Ohio. Then shout out, they were so nice. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I even like, I didn't mean to fanboy out, but I fanboyed out. Like, dude, Circle the Sky with the demo is like still like on my iPod. Like it's the demo Circle the Sky, that part Circle the Sky. So heavy. And like it angsted me, like this is so good and heavy. Yeah, you know what I mean? So
yeah, we've both been through that too.
Yeah. Yeah, what were you just talking about?
Well, you were talking about Waking. You went to Texas with Waking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then
playing on Keply's kit and all that.
Yeah. So Marco's just super familiar with them. So it's just funny to have like people be like, "Oh, dude, that's your basement." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because flying, like, even like we just came back from California, we went to Texas twice, stuff like that. Like, even if like you do have a house kit, like you still got to bring, like, I have a Pelican case with like all my triggers, my pedals. Then you have your cymbal bag, and like, it's still like, even having those 2 bags and just 2 guitars, like, it's still expensive as shit to fly.
Yeah.
So like, I understand like Marco, when he comes over, like, you don't need to bring your pedals or trigger or cymbals. Like, I got it under control. Like, just use my stuff, save your money, because it gets expensive.
Yeah. And then developing the relationship now with Don and even the guys in the band, like, they're the homies. Like, they're like they do anything for us and we do anything for them. Like, we just, the birthday show, I don't really consider a birthday show, but the February show with Waking, like that, that sold out. And that was literally a whim. Like, I literally like texted Marco and I'm like, "Yo, Marco, what are you doing in February? Whatever. And he's like, "I don't think anything, dude." And I'm like, "All right, if I fly you out, you want to play a show in a fucking VFW?" And he was like, "Yo, that sounds dangerous. I'm in." And I was like, "Oh, Marco's in. All right, cool." So then I went to everybody else because you just kind of plant the seed. And I'm the type of guy that I give. Like, I don't want anything back. It was the first time I ever pulled a card. Like, I never pulled a card before. Like, I was like, "You guys want to do this, dude? You really want to, like, can you do this, please?" And, you know, Don was like, "Fuck yeah, dude, let's do this. It'd be awesome."
That show was packed as shit, too.
Is it the footage that I've seen? You know, you were sending me a few videos, someone like throwing it, like just running in the crowd and like,
did that huge dive off the stage.
That was
like 2 things I want to point out. The show looked like, the ambience that night looked like, I wasn't there, but it looked like it was a blast. Like, everybody was going crazy and stuff. It looked amazing. And the second thing I wanted to say is that I can't believe how Don looks. I've never seen him live, but he looks just even better live. Like, maybe it's a perception, but he looks like a performer.
He can work the crowd. Like, he knows. Like, he knows how to do it. Yeah,
he's professional. He knows what he's doing.
It's crazy, and now he sounds too. Like, I think you could. I'm not kidding. I think you could take a recording of him live on a song, and it would be amazing.
He sounds exactly like the album, if not better, because it's just in your face and you're like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, that's so freaking sick. By the way, please organize a tour. We've been talking about that for a long time, but organize a tour that you come in Montreal with Waking, Slamwish, and Psycho Frame. Please do that.
So someone book it, please. TKO.
Exactly. Like, just imagine that lineup for real. Like, imagine the shows, how sick it would be. It would be crazy.
It would sell out. It'd sell out.
Sure.
It would sell out every. Okay, let's real quick. It would sell out every single show. So somebody pull the trigger and do it. It's that simple. That's money, and that's the reason why there's a lot. That's that show. Like, it was Dysentery, Waking the Cadaver, Pyrexia, Delenda, and Morbid Cross. They're all the homies. They're all our friends. Like, Blue has been. We've been Dysentery diehards since
long time. Since
the Gut Rot split. You know what I mean? Like, super long.
And I knew that show too. Like, I even said to him, I was like, Delenda, Morbid Cross, they're sick as shit. They're fucking awesome. Like, they're our boys. But like, as soon like, I think Pyrexia played next. They were fucking so sick. Dude, Dysentery is just like their sweatshirt they have. It just says like ignorant on it. Like, they are ignorant. And I was like, as soon as they go to play, that's when shit's gonna get scary. Like, we had to hire like 2 or 3 like security guards because we were like, shit is gonna get crazy.
Right. So going back to that via business wise, like, I think as in a fan base, like, even when we make music, like, I say it all the time, third person. Like, I think of it like when we write music and we're jamming. What are you going to think what if I was you? Like, I'm standing in this crowd and this band is doing this one part right now. Like, am I going to be like, this is fucking sick? Or I'm going to be like, is this fucking stupid? Like, so we tend to try to write like boppy catchy music where it's just like, dude, you got a beer, grab your beer,
music to headbang to, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever you have in your hand at the time, enjoy yourself, bang your head with us, put it down, get down with us if you want. You know what I mean? It's literally for everybody. But
make it fun, like make it just
yes, exactly. But I knew on the business side it was going to do good because no one, I mean, we live, again, South Jersey, we live in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing. There's a water tower like down the street and there's some cornfields and there's a cow. Like people who like even came were like, I got lost. Like, yeah, I knew you were going to get lost, dude. It's in the middle. It's a VFW in the middle of nowhere. It
didn't officially reach capacity because a couple of people couldn't find the place.
So, yeah, seriously. So I, forked out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in advance, but in return, it did good and it sold out and every single person had a good time. No one got hurt. If people got,
that one kid like broke his ribs or something.
Yeah,
somebody always gets hurt.
Yeah, someone got hurt, but he didn't get hurt. He had a good time. So that's all that matters. You know what I mean?
Like our Gloucester show, that kid got hit in the nose and like broke his nose.
Dude.
And there's like Stauffer's playing guitar and he like looks over and the dude's head's just out the window. And he's just like,
Jesus Christ.
Stauffer's like, you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm good. Just
I'm playing in the middle and it's a hometown show and it was again sold out. It was like 140 people, but it packed in this little, like what's behind us is the venue. So everyone jam packed in their second story balcony in this tight little bar thing. And we're going. And I just see feet come across like, because when you're playing, you kind of just look down and that's all I really see is like my feet. And I can look up and I'm like, I don't like looking this way anymore because like anxiety, like I don't like people looking at me. So I'm like, all right, let me go back down here. So I see feet go across and I'm like, what's going on? I'm thinking, fight, like, oh man. Cause like we're throwing the show basically. Like,
yeah. You're like responsible for it.
Yeah, exactly. So I look up and this kid is out the window and we're mid song. It's all muscle memory. So I'm looking over at him and I'm like, I wonder if he's sick or puking. And then he looks over at me and it is just a faucet. He's just leaking. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, and I word like holding out a part. And I look at him, I'm like, are you okay? And he goes up and he goes, fuck yeah, bro. Like fucking awesome. Like out of the window.
And that show, that dude like broke his eye socket too. That same show.
Oh yeah. And then another kid broke his eye socket. Like in the ambulance and stuff. Yeah. That show ruled.
Nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
This is flesh wounds. They were good.
But yeah, to really call it a good, deathcore slam show, whatever, you need at least something like that. Like, something needs to happen.
Ideally minor, but at least one injury.
There you go.
Yeah. You don't want people to get hurt at shows. The last thing I just want people to headbang. I just want people to have a good time. And if you're getting down, definitely like just get out what you got to get out. Like, I get it. It's definitely a thing,
Yeah. I'm always going to remember the first time I went in a pit in my life. Like, it was the first time mushing and I would have practiced before. There's a way to do it. I had no clue. My friend showed me.
There's an art form.
Yeah. So he showed me, I kind of developed a few moves. I'm like, I'm ready. And he kept reassuring me. He's like, don't worry. People are respectful in that. Like, there's going to respect your space. Just take your space. I'm like, okay, I'm less and less nervous. I'm okay. I'm about to go in the pit. First thing I see, somebody like this, both of his friends is like taking him out of the pit, his face covered in blood. Like, that's the first thing I see. One of the ears is like, when it's split with that's the first image. Okay, there you go. Happened to me too. I don't have it anymore.
Our show.
It's like, there you go. So that was the first image. I still went in, but my brain went like, okay, so it's not as he described to me. Like, maybe he should have said, be careful. But it's part of it, though. I mean, if you go to a show, it's, like if you go there, it's part of it. You go in the pit, like it's it could, anytime I kick something, whatever, but it's gnarly when you see it, when you see someone like with blood and stuff like that, you kind of think it twice. You're like, okay, we're going to hope it's not me, today.
Yeah. At the same time, you're like, that's terrible. Like, oh, I feel so bad. You're like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, I hope they're all right.
Yeah,
like,
the kid in you is like, oh, that's awesome.
That's sick, dude.
But you don't want anybody getting hurt. You know what I mean? It sucks when somebody, unless like they came up to us like after the show and were like, that was so sick, blah, blah, blah. And we're always like, dude, are you
Everybody
okay?
does
like,
that. I ran over to the dude in the EMT. He was literally in the ambulance. And I'm like, are you good? Like, what happened? And he's got like a big ice thing. Like, and literally like that. Like, dude, it was great, man. It was great. Like, I'm like, you good? He's like, yeah, well, you're fine. I'm like, all right, sick. See ya. I just ran away. Like,
oh my God.
A seasoned mosher still enjoying his time.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely part, it's part of it, but it's reassuring for you guys when you know that the person is not, it's not too bad. Like the person is okay. Like you don't want someone to be, on the floor or whatever. I've seen that. It's scary. And you don't want genuine, like, I think I can speak for everybody. Like a real fight isn't cool too. Like two people just fighting. Like
it's like, dude, what are you guys doing? Like, stop. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. If somebody gets hit and wasn't expecting it, it sucks. It sucks. The last thing I want to do is get hit. I've gotten hit, but so does everyone else. But like, say something for sure. Be like, yo, bro, you hit me. But like, don't escalate. Like, de-escalate. Yeah. Just be like, yo, dude, watch yourself, bro. Like, be cool.
Yeah, I've seen, because sometimes it goes pretty bad with a lot of people, right? Like it starts like this, but then the friends of it, like it becomes like this big, I've seen that like big fight that started like that. And I think that's kind of the last thing a band wants at the end, right? Like you want pits and stuff like that's cool, but real fights, I mean, I don't.
Especially now, like we're adults, dude. Like, like I'm not fighting you. Like you can call me a name. Don't touch me. I mean, I'm not going to fight you if you touch me, but like, dude, I'll defend myself if you're coming after me, but like, I will never fight anybody.
I miss it. Like I wanted to go in the pit when Dysentery was playing, and like, I was like almost going in. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, first off, I'm 35. Like last time I did that, I couldn't feel my feet for like 4 days afterwards. And then like, I got to play next. So my luck, I'll go in there and break my hand and then be like,
roll his ankle.
Can't play. Yeah.
It's not the same anymore. I felt the same thing, man. Like I was about to go, right in the front, the pit, whatever. And I just look at it and I'm like, nah. I went and I just sat down, dude, with a beer for the whole show. And I was like, I was thinking in my head, the 15-year-old you right now would be so pissed to see what you become, like the sitting down person at a metal show. I always laughed at that. I was like, why do you go in a metal show if you're about to sit down? I always laughed about it. And now I'm this person now who's just
in a blink of an eye,
buying merch, always important to me, like if you love the band, buy some merch. I'm buying merch, have a pile of new shirts, sitting down, beer. I stay there for the whole time.
We have health insurance here too.
Yeah.
We have an extra reason to not care about going to the pit. We still
wearing earplugs when you go to the shows now, like. That's new.
There's a lot of new things.
Now that we can't hear and have constant ringing in our ears, that's when we start using them.
Yeah, and it's weird though to see the kids now all with phones, right? Like not to be negative, but back in the days, the phones were so terrible that, Nokia, even if you tried to film, you could film outside something going on in a show and you can't really know, which video is which. So it was different. But it's special to see, how it is now. Everybody, I understand they want like a video of it, but it was like aborted and sick bands like that. And people like it's times that have changed a little bit, at least from what I've seen. I remember back in the days, we didn't have that. So basically the whole place was a pit. I do remember some of the shows. It was just but now it's a different experience, right? Like people are younger, they want to film it, they want a memory. I get it, but it must be weird sometimes for the bands, right? Like I don't know your experience on that, but it must be weird sometimes, just to people standing still and. I don't know. I don't know if it happened to you or if it's always crazy, but like that's what I've seen when I went to see Borden.
Nothing brings me, I mean, it's only happened like 2 or 3 times, but nothing brings me more joy than when we're playing and that split second I do look up and I see somebody running across the stage dive, and I'm like, yes!
It's the greatest feeling. Yeah. It's the greatest feeling in the world. Yeah. It's the greatest feeling. I honestly, I know everyone pits and I know we make music with breakdowns and I know it's like a part to get down with, but like I personally wouldn't do it because I can't do it, but I stage divers, anyone that's watching this that comes to our shows, please just stage dive, like stage dive. I love it. And like headbanging and everything else, but like definitely like if you're getting down, get down, have fun, do whatever you want to do.
It's true that stage, like it makes a difference, like in terms of ambience and stuff like that. Like if you go to a show that like there's a lot of stage dives, it creates a different ambience. People in the front, like they're catching people. It feels more fun. Like a good time, like a party kind of thing. So definitely, I've seen some shows that you can't do it, and it's taking something away. Like I think stage diving really has its place. Like, if I was playing, I would want people to do that, like the whole freaking time. They could be next to me and I wouldn't care, You
can watch old footage. Like I do it all the time. You watch old shows, whether it's Megadeth, Metallica, Korn, or any, whatever tickles your fancy from like late 90s or anything. Boxing, you ever watch a Mike Tyson fight or like even like old WWF or even ECW stuff? Everyone is just watching. Everyone's watching. You get a little flash every once in a while. Everyone's watching. And then now you watch the same thing like Metallica at like Download in like 2021 or whatever, and the intro of Nothing Else Matters or the intro of Enter Sandman or whatever, and everyone is standing there with their phones out. Like it's like that's weird. I think that's weird. I get you want to be in the moment, you want to record it. I don't know. I've been to shows where I purposely kept my phone in my pocket and just watched.
Yeah, usually what I do personally, I'm going to film just my favorite part, like just a little part just for me, like a 30 seconds, something like it. And obviously it's always a breakdown because I love breakdowns. So like, I'm going to film that, I'm going to keep it. That's it the whole time. I'm not touching it because, it's cool. You have a video, I get it. But at the same time, you want to be there, right? Like you want to like feel the moment. So stage diving, stuff like that, it makes the crowd feel like you're all together too, right? Like it feels like more of a community thing than just you bought a ticket and you're watching. Like when there's stage dive and people like pushing around, smiling, like that's the fun of metal shows to me. Like that's the good part.
I love that shit.
You.
Like I grew up with hardcore, like a lot of hardcore like music too. And just like, I wouldn't say like really like the super traditional hardcore, I mean, maybe it was like more of like the subgenre of like, maybe it was like metal and hardcore or whatever you want to call it, more along the hardcore lines. But, like the whole vibe, like lyric wise, it gave off, the shows, there's people always stage dive in huge pits. The stage would have 30 fucking people on the stage and everybody's going nuts. Like that whole atmosphere. I love it.
Yeah, it creates like it's special because people outside of metal, if you like the way they would picture a metal show, it would never be like what it is. Like they think it's angry people just going there and not caring, whatever. And the second you go there and you notice how people are having a good time, smiling, and like every single experience I had, people would stop me like, "Hey, did you get that edition of that shirt? It's so sick." I knew everybody's talking. It's so freaking cool. Like the second you go there, your whole vision change. Even in the pit, by the way, I've helped people who went down or on the floor.
The community is awesome. From when you walk in, it's like a family now. You see people from shows that are like 2 hours away from each other, 3 hours, 4 hours away from each other. You're like, dude, you're here? No fucking way. You know what I mean? Like, or supporting the band, and you get like what you just said, getting a shirt, and the homie's like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" And you're like, dude, from the show. And you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You feel more exclusive because now you're cool, you know, because you have the shirt that he don't.
Yeah, I think Dom was talking about that the other day. Like it's metal has this thing where it's rare. Like in metal, people, they come at the merch table, the band themselves, they're just like, they come, they talk to you and stuff like that. Like it's literally, I would say it's one of the only scene you can have this kind of proximity and good time with people. So that's, you know, can change. You don't see yourself as that, but there's people looking up to you. And when they meet you, it means a lot, right? Like they're buying your stuff. They're like, he's there, you know, like he's, oh my God. So yeah,
that's the thing too, is like I'm a very shy person. I'm pretty much a hermit. Like when I get home, I don't want to fucking talk to nobody.
He doesn't talk to nobody. He doesn't go on the fucking internet.
As soon as I get home from work, just don't even talk to me.
I can't even get
him. Come on a internet live podcast.
Yeah. You know how hard it was to get him to do this? No.
But where was I going with it? Oh yeah, like if you like if you go to a show or whatever like that, like I'm getting better with like sitting behind the merch booth. The more time I do that,
he killed it
with talking to people.
February,
but like like if you're at a show and you know, don't feel like shy or whatever to come up to the band, talk to the band,
They're bored.
We're like half the time I would say we're probably just as nervous to talk to you as you're nervous to talk to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it's okay. Come up, you know what I mean? Say hi. Like, even if you're not even going to buy anything, just say hi, shoot the shit.
Yeah. It always means, I think people have this outside perspective, you know, because they look at this thing that you know means something to them. You know, this music they listen to, and they you know, they decided to take some time out of their day and maybe dish out some money to come see you guys and all this stuff. So I feel like there's always, people feel like there's this sort of hierarchy, you know, within this thing. But like, as someone's mentioning, as Chris is mentioning in the chat, you know, we're all just humans, you know. It's just you know, we're all just people.
We're still just as fans, you know, when we still fanboy over
exactly. Yeah.
If we get a show offer or something or an opportunity, we fanboy, you know, we're like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? Like, 'cause we're human beings. Like, you know what it was like to get an email that says, hey, we want you guys in California. Like, we do it. What do we do? What do we do? And then you got to take a deep breath and you got to be like, okay. And then you see someone in the crowd wearing your t-shirt that was sold 2 years ago. And I'm like, dude, that was from the online thing from like 2 years ago. And they're wearing it. Like, we mark out over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true, but like it's something even today. Like I'm talking to people ever since I started my channel. I'm talking to these people I've been looking up to, right, all my life, and I'm like, oh my God. And I always have the same realization. They're all super stoked and they're just saying like, hey, thanks for the video, man. Like they're just like, you know, they're not only human, but they're like grateful for their fans for the most part. They're just like happy that people care at all, right? So so when you have a moment with your fan like that, I'm sure it means a lot to you too, to get to meet them and just like, hey, like it's a connection thing. It's just, it's not just for the fan. It's like, it's a moment. So I think that's something that especially in metal happens a lot. You know, I didn't really see that in other scenes.
Yeah. I think a lot of people too, like especially like people come to me at work and they're like, "Oh, there's the rock star," and it's like, or like, you know, you'll come back home and like and hang out with your friends and they're like, "Yo, how was California? How was this? How was that?" And it's like, I think a lot of people get like the idea that it's like this huge, like maybe like back in the 80s, like we're going to fly out to California, we're drinking beers, we're partying, like we're throwing shit out the window. Like, no, it's like you get to the place, you're nervous, you vomit, you know what I mean? You're worried about the show, you're worried about talking to people.
You lose the guitar.
The show starts, you know what I mean? You're dead focused on the show and then like focused on the merch stuff. And then it's like, you get back home and you're like exhausted.
like it's the first time I see a band that puking is part of the ritual, but whatever works, you know.
If I don't throw up before a show, there's something wrong.
That's happened before, where he was like, "Dude, I feel so good, I'm good to go," and we're like, "Yeah, you feel good?" He's like, "I didn't even throw up," and we're like, "All right, cool." We go on, and he fucks up, and we're like, "No,
fucking butchered that part.
No, what did you do?"
I missed my snare hit. I was like, "Damn."
Yeah, sorry, Dama, you probably have. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
We're so hard on ourselves with sound, and it's so funny because like we'll get done a show and we're like, we fucking suck. We butchered that show. And then like you go back and then you'll watch the videos and you're like, oh, it really wasn't that bad. Like I thought we were like 30 seconds off, and you're like, you can't even tell.
And that's your overly critical perception of it, right? Like even watching it back, so people in the show, like, trust, no one noticed anything.
The one that's in Ohio, the show that we played with My Children, My Bride, that was filmed and like kind of like mixed and like half mastered and like put online, and you can watch it. Dude, there's parts in that where like we got off afterwards and we were like, what did we do? Like, no, like that was recorded. No. And then we go online and we're like, yo, let's make a live album of this because this is sick. Like everything's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's your own perception also on stage, right? There's so many elements, like you're playing, you're thinking, it's like it's going fast, but you're also thinking about a lot of things at the same, like it's this mix. So in your perspective, you're super late, but in real time, people are watching and it's great. Like it's super cool. You're fine. It's like but it stays in your head probably, right? Like this moment that you think you fucked up, you're like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, it's over. Game over.
I screwed this song. Like it's done.
I think it was Ohio or maybe it was Delaware. We were playing like 115 and like playing, I'm going to hit the sample pad and like biffed it. And it felt like it was like 3 minutes where I could hit it again. And I was like, I fucking ruined it. But then like you rewatch it and you're like, it was like half a second off.
Yeah,
like,
it was like one. Tell. You watch it back and it's
literally slow-mo. Like, no.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's been a week already. Like, no. You watch it back and it's literally half a second off, and you're like, that was it. Like, why did it feel like it was 3 minutes?
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely different. But for what it's worth, I think it shows that you care a lot, though, right? Like if you care that much about that, like it means that you care about what people are getting. So I think it's a good thing, but it just adds on to the stress and the whole package, maybe to the puking too. So advantage, disadvantage there.
Yeah.
I want to be mindful of your guys' time, but I'd have maybe just one last thing I'd love to touch on before letting you guys go. We were talking a little bit about how things have changed over the years and cell phones and all this stuff. And I'd be curious because you guys had some pretty viral moments with TikTok and like reaction channels and stuff like that. And I'm curious from your guys' point of view, being like, you're probably around our age and we all grew up on the same kind of like MySpace era and all this stuff, especially you guys taking like such a long break and then coming back to basically a kind of a new way of promoting music and
everything
how all these things work.
So different now. Before it was like really important to make an album, and now it's like if you make an album, you fucked up.
You have fucking up,
you have to stay quote unquote relevant.
Singles, constantly.
Singles. Sure. SoundCloud kids back in the 2015s knew what they were doing because they would just drop a new song. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're spitting on a mic rapping or you're laying down blast beats at 300 beats per minute. You're still releasing music to the masses, and you want it to do good. You don't know if it's going to do good, but if you think this rules, then why not show it to the world? But the way that the SoundCloud era kind of did it, like they kind of paved the way for the minds now, I think, with music and how it's taken in, and especially now with the social medias. I don't even have a TikTok. Like even to this day, I don't have a TikTok. It's like, well, we had to get one for the band. Yeah. And we did, so that's like my TikTok, but like, it's not the band. You don't post on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's good. It's good to like, let's say if you have like, you got to keep the singles, like whether you do it like a month, 2, 3 months, 3 months might be pushing it. I feel, but like you got to do singles, keep releasing singles. It's like a snowball. You know what I mean? If you go viral or, if your numbers start blowing up, and you release a video, you can't let that snowball melt. You know what I mean? You got to keep the train going because everybody,
with another one and another one. And
everybody nowadays wants shit so fast that if you don't have something backed up, you're going to fall off.
Which is really hard in the writing process, even for us, because that's not the way we rock. Like,
I feel like we're almost like a deathcore version of Tool. If you were to hear the first version of 115, it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
and it takes
garbage.
It takes us months to make a song.
It takes us like months to write a song. It apart. Yeah, to keep apart. That's a month, and then I'll come up with something else because we're starting to do it now. Like we got interfaces. Like we got the little red box. Little red box that's falling apart. But we're late to the party, dude. Like I just got a tube amp like 2 years ago. I was super late to the party. I don't know how to run Reaper good or anything like that, but like I got the plug in and I kind of got it to work so we can I can sit there and while my wife watches her murder shows, I can sit there and write murder music. You know what I mean? Like come up with a riff or something. But as for like the viral stuff, the social media
that stuff you guys were like expecting at all, or like how was that for you guys?
Tell them how many views you thought it was going to have.
I thought honestly, when we first started, I thought putting a song out for our lifetime, like when I died, we would have a maximum of 4,000 views.
Yeah. We had a bet. I said I was like 2,500. I was like 2,500 would be sick. Like I said, like what we said earlier, we were supposed to be like a balaclava band. Where you don't know who we are. It just kind of snowballed into, you want to play bass? Like, our friend came over who we jammed with.
He didn't want to wear a mask, so you guys were fucked.
Yeah. So we're like, all right. So, but to even when it was happening, we didn't believe it. It still kind of don't believe it. You kind of sit back now and you're just like, how?
Also, too, like during that time, like I know we thanks Don for fucking like pointing us in right directions and. Like which way to go, but like everybody around us, like there's no fucking written book for how you do this shit. Mm-hmm. So we started seeing these numbers going up, but we're like, what do we do now?
We're taking screenshots and sending it back to each other like, yo, dude, it just went up like 25,000 and it just kept going up and wouldn't stop. And we were like, he's like, it's a glitch. It's a fucking glitch.
It's all bots.
It's all bots. We're going to wake up tomorrow. Everyone's going to hate us because they think because the bots and shit. And we were like, no. Then we realized what was really happening. It was TikTok and hardcore. Shout out to Hardcore King.
Yeah.
He is a gem of a human being. He lit that video. That moment kind of changed the whole trajectory of Nine Dead, and it got us. It kind of broke us out,
and it kept us afloat for a while.
Yeah, we
didn't have anything.
We didn't have anything.
That was it.
Sure. You guys put it out and you're like, all right, well, nothing in the tank left.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully with the stuff coming out, my goal is hopefully the stuff coming out. We have a couple things coming out, with some big shit on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
But hopefully, maybe later on in the year we can get back in the studio. So that way, once these songs release, we'll have something right backed up to it.
Yep. We're already starting to toy around, even though that we've already been to the studio. Everything's for the most part done. I think we got everything back last week, and
There we go.
it's literally now filming music videos, doing everything, lining everything up that we have to.
Because you guys say, you know, it's changed so much and there's no rule book and all these things, but you guys have taken like I feel from the outside looking a seemingly pretty calculated approach to releasing singles. To your point, like that is like a thing. You guys have a ton of music videos for you know, like half of your songs basically have been released as singles with music videos. There's a good presentation too. They're not just like shitty performance videos that you know, because you can put out a music video that doesn't do anything for the band, right? Like there's like different levels of doing things, and I feel like you guys have been doing it in a really cool way. Like 115 and what's the recent song? I'm an idiot.
A Silent Practice.
And the music video for that song as well, super fucking cool. Like both of those songs have like a really cool and great presentation. So you guys are doing something right. Like it was, you guys kind of touched on, you know, Don maybe pointing you guys in certain directions, but was that a lot of observations or other people in your lives? Like how were you guys, like, how did you guys come about to think about these things in this new age, I guess?
I think, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like Don helped us out a lot. And then also like watching interviews and stuff like that. And also like, it's so embarrassing, but like, if you watch our first music video, Tortured, compared to A Silent Practice, like you can tell, like, I guess doing multiple music videos helped out in the, like, getting better at it. Cause like Tortured, I'm like,
oh yeah,
like,
he's sitting there like
so
just
bad.
barely hitting.
And then like the newer one, I'm like, okay, learn from that music video. You gotta move, like you gotta sell it.
But you gotta. I don't know. It depends how serious you want to take this. We take Nine Dead very seriously. We told each other, especially when it was just a jam session in COVID times in 2020, it kind of snowballed into this, what it is now. But since the beginning, we told each other, this is it. Mm-hmm. I'm 35 years old. He's turning 36 with, you know, he's got a little girl in the way. Like, we're not 21 years old. We're not 18. I'm not in college. I have a career. He's got a career. We have mortgages. It's now, give it all now.
Yeah. If this doesn't work out, then that's it. The only thing that's in the tank left would be 20 years from now, you can catch us at the local
pub in Walter City
playing cover band songs. You know what I mean? That's it.
We'll be playing some Journey.
It's done.
The Nine Dead reunion in 20 years.
Yeah. At the VFW in Elmer.
That's it. Round 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's cool though. I mean, I don't know. I think, I mean, maybe it's a testament to what you just said, you know, kind of learning from past experiences. You do a single, you learn from it, and you get better with each one. I personally find that the latest single is like, even in terms just of songwriting, I think it's like a step up. Like it kind of took a lot of things that you guys were already doing, turned it up to 11, added some new elements to vocally. There's a lot of stuff that, like, a lot more high vocals and stuff, which I think is super cool. I don't know, man. I think you guys are doing really, really cool stuff right now, and I can't wait for what's next.
Yeah. I feel the same way. It feels more, it's more surprising. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I love what you did before, but now it's like you don't know what's coming, and like there's a lot of different level of intensity through the songs, like lots of surprises, of contrasts, and like it's super cool. So I think you've got, you know, well, obviously you just went in studio, so I'm sure we're going to be very pleasantly surprised, but it's cool to see the direction you're
I think with 115, seeing how 115 worked out, like it took us like a minute to find our niche. Is that the word? Like
the sound,
to find exactly what the sound that's going to like work out for us. Yeah. And now we're just perfecting it little by little as we go.
Yeah. You can kind of, for the new stuff, I guess you can leak in the sense of, think of like A Silent Practice. It's it's a freight train and it doesn't stop. That was one thing that Don brought to light. He was like, when he was trying to explain to us what he felt, like the element that is Nine Dead, he was like, it's a fucking freight train and it doesn't stop. It's like this explosion. And we've heard that, like, oh dude, it's like an explosion, it doesn't stop. It's like it's different. It's different than, you know, every band's different, but everyone was like, everyone comes up a lot of times and they're like, there's something else about this. And then that's what's cool, because it's just us making music that we want to hear, that we were like, yeah, what if like that riff was played like this? Wouldn't that be sick? Like, we can do it. Dun, 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 bam, bam, bam. And it's like, dude, that rules. And then we record it and we put it out, and then like-minded people are like, that's sick. And we're like, that's fucking sick, dude. I'm so stoked that you like that, because I like that. He likes that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also very difficult for an upcoming band, like a super heavy band, to get like that amount of view on a song, right? Like it's something you don't even expect a little bit. Like you don't even think, oh, maybe. You're just like, if I get 5,000 views, it's amazing. Like that's kind of the
five,
mindset.
we did it. Like, oh my God.
Wow.
Like, what?
And just because you think like you hit like a viral video or your numbers start going up and this and that, and you're like, oh, smooth sailing now. No. That's just the tip. Now the real work starts. You gotta maintain and
follow that up, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like everybody's competing for attention now, right? Like people have 2 seconds to give you now, like with a video. So like you're constantly, and so many, it's cool, but there's so many upcoming bands too, like new project, like here and there, like cool things. And so it's like, if you have a momentum, it's like, it's so precious and difficult to maintain that it's like a business.
There's an
you have
expectation
to,
that's set too, right?
Yeah. And now you have all these people that kind of all expect you to be even crazier on the next thing. Like it's kind of, they're just like, okay, what's next? Right. It's like an amazing movie and you're like, what's the sequel? Like, what are going to do? So there's this pressure of it or miss, right? That's constantly kind of there. So
yeah, it's cool because we really, I want to reiterate, we really make music for us. Like,
sure.
It's really cool to drive to work at 5:30 in the morning, but you hear the mix that you just cut and you're bobbing your head like, I kind of wish this was another band and it wasn't us and we didn't have responsibilities of having to play shows and you know what I mean? Like, but like as that third person view, like I can kind of picture this at a show and I'm just like watching like that drummer's sick, that guitar player, that bass lick, that dude slapping the bass like Fieldy from Korn, that rules. You know, but
it's also like staying humble because like we practice twice a week. So it's like we hear our songs constantly. So like when like a new band comes out or like somebody releases a song, I'm like, this shit is the heaviest shit I've ever heard. Like we suck.
Yeah, seriously. There are bands that drop Bell.
I can't pronounce fucking words that I
can't pronounce the goddamn band name, but they go on.
Bell or something.
Bell v Bell.
PA. They're disgusting.
Yeah, they're disgusting. Okay. They just put out a song today, and both of us were like, "Dude,
sick."
Like, what the fuck is that? And then we go back to our material, and we're like, "Fuck! I hope this is good." You know what I mean? Like, but it's cool because we.
It's hard too because you can't like fucking Psycho Frame. Unbelievable. But you can't also like all these bands are so sick and it's so hard to like stay on track and like listen to those bands. And then still when you go to write and be like, let's do a riff like this. And then you're like, that's not really us.
Yeah. And you have to just stay true. You know what I mean? You got to just do what feels right.
And you have to remember that this feeling you just explained for Psychoframe, because by the way, we're both super open about the fact that we're absolute fans of Psychoframes. Like they're amazing. It was a good example, but keep in mind that a lot of people are feeling like that for your music. That's the hard part, to remember that you also give this feeling to a lot of people, right? But when it's your music, you can't hear anything anymore. Like we talked about that, like on the podcast, we talked about that a lot. But when you do music, you heard it so much that you're like, is this even good? Like,
you don't know if it's good or bad anymore. Yeah.
Like, what's this? Like
no, go ahead.
No, that's basically it. I was just saying, like, you're listening to it and then you hear something for the first time, like Psychoframe, and you're like, oh my God, like it's terrible what I'm doing. Like what, like yep. what am I doing with my riffs? Like that's amazing. But I think it's just, you would listen. I'm sure they feel like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure if you hear your own music, you cannot be 100%, objective or whatever. You just heard it too many times.
I'm sure some cocky motherfucker can.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
This shit's the best.
Yeah, probably. But in most cases, I'm sure people are just like, damn. Like it's this, even in MySpace days, like you hear some podcasts. I'm a big fan also like Garza podcasts and stuff like that. So like you hear those bands talking about MySpace and they were competing with each other. Right? Like Whitechapel would drop something and then Carnifex would be like, oh shit, like we gotta do, like it was this kind of, oh my God, what is this? We like,
and that progresses the genre too. Like with blindly, with no one knowing that, you know what I mean? Because like, it's like the human being, like jealousy sucks, but like jealousy also creates drive. You know what I mean? Like you want to, not so much jealousy, maybe envy. Is it? Yeah. Whatever it is. Yeah. But you someone comes out with something and you're like, fuck, why didn't I think of that? So then you take that, you flip it, and you put your little, twist on it. And then that's not better. It's just not better. It's just your take on it. But everyone else is like, that rules too, dude. And then some other band from over here, he listens to that and then does something like that. And so on and so on and so on. And then you have a huge fucking the MySpace era. Come on. Like,
no, it was amazing. Like it was drops after drop. Like Oceano came in. Like, what is that? Like Born of Osiris. Oh my God. Veil of Maya. Like every single time a new band would come up, people would be like, what is happening? Like, what is that? Like you were talking about My Children, My Bride. When I heard the song about Halo, like I was like, I never remember the name of the song weirdly, but Dumb knows it, but I always forget it. I think it's Winds of Integrity. Is that it? Whatever. But like, I would literally play Halo 3 online, playing this song in the background because I was like, this is so cool. I would hear like, I am the Master Chief, and I would play like Halo at the same time. But yeah, we had so like the cymbals and all that. Yeah, but I'm trying to picture if I would have been like a vocalist in a big band back in the day and hearing Mitch, and I would have been like, I quit. I'm out. Like I'm out. But I think it's healthy to have good competition, right? It's healthy to have a lot of great bands because it's going to push you. You have to. It's just, you want to improve, right? So it's, as long as you keep going and you do, as long as you stay you too, right? Like some bands, I feel like they're so impressed by something that they change their whole thing. I don't think that's the right direction. I think you should stay true to yourself and just add a little touch, maybe just improve, and that's it, right? Yep. So that's. Yeah. So Dom, I don't know if you had it like.
No, I mean, I think we're closing up on 2 hours, so I'm gonna.
Oh, sorry about that.
No. I mean, we're the ones keeping you guys here.
Yeah.
But, we have work in the morning, man.
Yeah. Man. No, but thank you guys so much for taking the time. I know you guys kind of have a lot coming up. You guys got a show coming up in Florida. You guys are doing a run with Slamwich, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have what do we have?
Florida, New Jersey Death Fest.
Yeah, we have NJ. So we have NJ Death Fest in March 16th. if you're in New Jersey, New York City, Northern Pennsylvania area, NJ Death Fest, Waking the Cadaver, Dysentery, Mortician. Dripping is coming out of retirement in 20 years.
That's
their
sick.
first fucking live show ever.
They're
live
going to be the
show
one
in 20
puking
years.
before then. I'm kidding.
Yeah, let's see. And then what do we? Yeah,
Slamwich one. I don't know
The
if we have it one
Slamwich,
weekend.
and then
So sick.
the Tampa one is April 27th, and then we have a big thing coming out that hasn't been announced yet, but will be announced soon.
Cool. All right, we'll be on the lookout. And you guys, are the vinyls still on sale right now?
Yes, very limited. The Super Splatter one sold out completely, and I believe there is very low amounts of the last two two variants. There's 3 variants. The one sold out completely in the first day, and then there is 2 more that are low that are almost sold out, and I'm taking screenshots like, yo, dude, look at this. Boom, boom. Send it to him. And he's like, dude, like, it's a glitch. It's bots. They're not, it's fake.
It's always the bots.
It's always the bots.
Always the bots.
That's awesome. While we're here, I have to say how sick Slamwish is as a band. Like, I just want to, like, while we're on the topic, they rip, man. They're super sick.
Super awesome to have them.
Shows.
Super awesome to have them on board. I know they're going down to Florida for a little run right beforehand, so they're going to be hopefully not too tired to just put them in the dirt. To put Pennsylvania.
They have a lot of energy. I'm sure it's going to be fun. And both of your bands are going to, like, I think, like, the vibe is going to fit well together, right? Like, both of your sounds together is going to be, it's going to be violent. Maybe another window broken or something like that.
Yeah, seriously. And we've played with Queen Guillotine before. We love those dudes. So we were like, how do we bring them back? Like, we were all about, like, the February show, like, that was all the homies. Like, I got Delenda on it. I got Morbid Cross on it because they're the homies. Like, they deserve to play in front of 300 people. You know what I mean? Like, so made it happen.
It should be good.
Yeah.
It should be awesome. It should be literally sick. I mean, I'm super stoked on it. I know it's starting to get a little buzz now. I know it was on Lamb Goat, so that was sick. Super awesome of Lamb Goat to support that.
Of course. Of course, that's super sick. I don't remember. Do you, like, because maybe you can't say it yet, but do you know around what time you're going to drop music? Like, do you have like I know sometimes you can't say it.
We know. Yes. If you're asking if we know, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Can we speak on it?
Probably not.
We can, but we can't.
No, if you can.
Just know that there is new material coming out very soon.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my question. It was more like, is it like in a long, like, is it pretty soon or like later in the year was more of my question, right? Soon. But if you say it's soon, nice.
Yeah, we got awesome. 3 of them stretched out. Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, it'll be
awesome.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Okay,
so we're excited to dupe and then dupe and then boop. So it's gonna be we're excited because it's awesome. The material's fucking awesome. It's so groovy. It's so fun to play, and that's the thing too. Like, new music rules. A lot of people kind of like. Yeah, of course, you always play your Enter Sandman, you always play that. But new music sometimes really is cool and is good. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm just tired of playing fucking our old tunes, but it's awesome to play new stuff, and the new stuff is just heavy. God, it's heavy.
Can't wait, man. It's gonna be sick.
I'll hold your word to it. But thank you guys so much again for taking the time. This was super cool. For anyone watching right now, I put the links to the vinyl in chat and to their socials. And thank you guys again so much for doing this.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you, Yan, for like literally taking time out of your time. Thank you for doing what you do. Your channel rules. Both your channels rule, and you're like a Nardwar. You're doing stuff that's like I forgot I had that song on my iPod. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like super sick to see your deep dive. So to be a part of this and to even like conversate, I know we're in the DMs and stuff, but like to be able to talk and like bullshit, and like it's really cool. And just know that like we love you to death, man.
Dude, thank you so much. It's the same. I was talking about that before the podcast. I was telling our chat, like, when I saw your message and you were like, dude, we like your channels. I was like, what's going on? We just kept talking. It was so fun. Even like showing each other music and stuff. It was amazing, man. Like I love that. Honestly, that's the best part of everything I'm doing right now, right? Like, it's those amazing new friendship that I never thought I would have. So I really appreciate it. And thanks for the kind words too. Like, I love doing all of this, and I love doing the podcast with them. Like, it's been crazy journey, and it's only the beginning, right? Like, so many other. The scene was so big, man. I have work for the rest of eternity. So
I'll be watching. I'm sure he'll be watching. We'll be watching.
With gray hair someday, I'm still going to be there. Do you remember Carnifex? Like, that's going to be
That's
me.
Awesome.
So, yeah, let's go, man. But thank you for real. I feel the same way, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Of course. We'll keep in touch. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye, man.
Peace out.